things I fight constantly internally, and I think this is advice probably across all the creative businesses, I would say, is that it's really easy to look at what other people are doing and start getting swayed and going, oh, but that's really cool what they're doing, and maybe I should be doing that, and maybe... If you're in a creative industry, what you bring to the table is you.
This is the Creativity Clinic, a show that inspires creatives to take meaningful steps to fulfill your passion. I'm Kirsty Hunter, an entrepreneur and founder, best known for my work in creative education and business, working alongside incredible artists to fulfill their ambitions. Here I chat with experts from the diverse pool of creative industries, offering you insights, education, and the motivation to those wanting to make an impact in the creative sector. Sarah.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to dive right in.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell our viewers and our listeners exactly what you do?
Oh, well, that's like starting with a really difficult question, isn't it? Right, okay, so exactly what I do is, other than being an icon, okay, that's not true. I sell vintage clothing predominantly, sustainable fashion alternatives, I guess, and I try and make it a true alternative to the high street. So not super high end, more just wearable fashion. And I also make big earrings because I like big earrings. That is essentially what I do.
Did you make these ones that you're wearing?
No, I thought about it, but you know what? I want to wear this and I want to wear this earring. So instead of wearing my product, I decided to go with what I wanted to wear today.
I think that's what you should always do.
Exactly. That's I learned in that direction.
Just bloody wear it.
Just bloody wear it. Yeah.
So I would say that around the local vicinity of where you live, you've maybe become quite infamous for your outfits.
Well, you can't miss me, generally. You can't miss me. And I do when I model anything for the business, I take the pictures in my road, which causes much hilarity from my neighbours. So there's just lots of pictures of me standing in the road with road sweepers behind me and neighbours just going like this.
Is it the road sweepers that are actually taking the photos?
Oh, I wish there was.
Maybe that's a take you could do, is you could get them to join in on the fun.
Do you think? I think they're not paid enough anyway. I think making them do my work as well feels a bit mean. But I did have a guy saying, "What are you doing?" I said, we're taking some pictures, I'm selling the clothes. And he went, "Oh, can I be in the picture?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "What?" And I went, "Yeah, come on, get in the picture." And he went, "What, with all my stuff?" I went, "Yeah, with all your stuff." I said, "Can you just sweep behind me and look at me like I'm nuts?" And he went, "Yeah."
So it's pretty good involved.
Yeah, it's my favourite thing.
So they now know you weekly? Do you see them every Thursday when they're collecting your rubbish?
No, they try and avoid me. The neighbours see me. And it usually takes about 6 months before a new neighbour goes, "What is it you do?" And I go, "Oh, I just, don't mind me. I just sell vintage clothes. I'm just modelling, don't panic."
And who takes the photos?
'Tis my poor husband and occasionally my children.
Is the quality different or?
It's just lower. He's 6'3", and if my daughter takes them, I don't know how tall she is, but she's probably here on me. So you get one of those shots rather than one of those shots.
I mean, that's maybe quite nice. Give a bit of variance.
Exactly. So if you want to go and check out my Instagram and try and work out who's taken which photos, you probably can from the angle.
I'm going to look. So have you always sold vintage clothing?
I have been selling it for about... this is why I need Phil here, because he always knows when things happen. But I've been doing it for about 15 years, selling.
Okay.
But I've always liked secondhand clothing. Like I've always, as a child, I'd be down the jumble sale. I'd be buying stuff all the time. I always wore weird stuff to school. I always liked charity shops. So that was always in me. And then there was just this tip and for anyone who buys secondhand clothes, it's that finding something that's never going to fit you. It's not your size, but it's brilliant. And it's a really good price. And you're like, "Oh, I just want to buy it." So I had to start selling because then I could buy those things.
Yeah.
And you still get the joy from having it for a bit.
Absolutely.
And then getting it on somebody else.
Yeah. And enjoying that. And so I've been to some of your open houses.
You've been to many of my open houses. Don't undersell yourself.
and have bought a number of garments.
Yes. You've also modelled for me.
I have also modelled. I'm not sure I was the best model, but
you were great.
I did get a fabulous red jumpsuit.
Yes.
Which I've still got upstairs in my wardrobe. When you do your open houses, talk to us about that.
So, how did that start? I did a few sort of little gatherings, not in the place I am now, but the previous place we lived. It was a little one-bed flat, but where I'd somebody would come with a few of their friends and they'd try clothes on, and I'd make a pot of tea and maybe have a little bit of cake. And when we moved here and had this bigger place, I don't have a car, I don't drive. Getting my stuff to other places is a real pain in the bottom. So it's like going, well, why can I not bring people to me? And also having very young children at the time, it gives you that time to get the, I mean, obviously it's a bit of a pain because the kids' stuff is everywhere and there are children in my house. But other than that, it gives me that time to get everything ready without having that rush. So I kind of think that's where my open houses started. And the whole idea is it's supposed to be a really relaxed way to shop. I mean, well, you know. And I always ask other people to describe it because they're better at describing it than me because it's about their experience. But I open the house, I try and keep it super friendly. I have a couple of rooms full of stock. I make a big table of homemade cakes. I have drinks. My poor husband is my manservant for the day. I shout at him for 5 hours and make him give people drinks. And then it's just a bunch of brilliant women trying stuff on, being awesome. And what always impresses me is the fact that people will show up on their own, which I think is a really brave thing to do, to go to somebody's house that you don't know and knock on the door and go, I've come for your open house and I'm here on my own. And they always end up talking to somebody and they always find a friend. But I think that's brilliant.
It's such an incredible experience. I think when you consider shopping and the high street now, where they're trying to make things more immersive, wondering how they're going to get people back into the stores.
Yep.
And actually people do want to have an experience, and coming to your home is always a brilliant experience. People come in and, like you say, they might come on their own. You always invariably end up chatting. You're standing upstairs in your attic room, changing, getting naked, trying things on that you wouldn't try on. I've bought things that I wouldn't have dreamed of buying.
Yeah.
When I look at it on the hanger, and then you just think, oh, it's just fun.
Exactly.
And you put something on, and I recently bought my Betty Barclay, which I absolutely love.
Which really surprised me, and it looks so good on you, but I wouldn't have, there's certain things where I go, well, Kirsty, you know. But that, I was like, yes, because you would never. And if you'd been to a high street shop that sold co-ords, because it's a skirt and blouse, right?
Sure.
You wouldn't have gone to a rack of co-ords and gone, oh yes, I must get myself all of those.
Never. And I wouldn't try it on. I probably wouldn't try it on at all. But because you're sort of seeing it amongst everything else, and you just think, why not? So it is a real experience. You're there for hours. Like you say, there's amazing cakes that you bake, all of them.
I love making the cakes.
This table is just a plethora of... I always go around and have a flight.
A flight of cakes is important.
A flight of cakes. You want to try everything. Mm-hmm. And you have your teapot, which you were having donations, but you've slightly changed that up recently. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I decided to get all futuristic and go on Eventbrite, which is it's a new thing. You've probably never heard of Eventbrite, but I decided that I'd be a real forerunner in this. Honestly, I'm so late to every party. But I decided to ticket my event. Now, this is not to make me extra money. I mean, that would be nice, but it's not. It's £5 a ticket. One, that also encourages people to show up if they say they're coming. If people have a ticket, they feel a bit more like it's a real solid thing. It's easier for me to manage my guest list as well and know how many people are coming. But all that money will go to the South Norwood Community Kitchen, which is my charity of choice at the moment, which is where the money from the teapot used to go. So all of that money goes there instead. So it's just trying to make sure people understand that it's not an extra charge. It's kind of what they would have been paying anyway. It's just all done and dusted before you show up. And also, I mean, how much would you pay for a nice slice of cake and a cup of tea somewhere? Well, no, let's forget that, or a glass of fizz.
Absolutely.
More than a fiver.
More than a fiver. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Bargain.
Absolute bargain. Cake, glass of fizz or a cup of tea.
A manservant.
A lovely couple of hours in your day.
Exactly.
Meeting wonderful people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great day out.
I love it. I do very little at my open house, as you know. I just go around sort of going, hello, and just flapping about because everyone else does the work. People sell things to each other. It's like
They really do.
I do the work beforehand. It's not on the day.
Yeah, days beforehand. So, so that's your open house. So you're saying that's the work beforehand. So if anybody else, well, that's a brilliant idea, and I want to do that in my home. Talk about that process that you do beforehand to make sure that people know about it, how you prep for it.
Well, it's sort of got more elaborate. It depends what you want to do. So I know people who do open houses, and like Naomi Perkins is a good example. She lives locally. She makes incredible clothes from vintage fabrics, and she has these top nights. So she will lay on a little bit of food. She'll have some fizz, but I don't think it's quite the performance because I sort of turn 2 rooms. My son's bedroom is a showroom. Our room is a showroom. So there's a lot of hiding things and there's a lot of last minute things, but I try and over the week get everything priced, get it labelled, make sure I know what I want the layout to be. I've got to get it in my head so I know what my end point is. But things for me that are important that shouldn't be important are things like, how will I do my mantelpiece? I'm going to do a beautiful display on the mantelpiece. I need different bunting. I'm going to decorate the whole house because I want people to walk in and go, oh. So I am my own worst enemy, and I would not suggest doing that because I'm like, yes, but what can I do this time? What can I do to make it different? If you wanted to do something like this, you can do it exactly the same every time. Do what works for you. You do not need to make 10 homemade cakes. You don't. That is my thing. It doesn't mean that yours would not work. Buy some cakes, make some sandwiches, or just give people a glass of fizz. It doesn't have to be the same performance. But for me, it's flapping around for a whole week.
Talking about the performance side of things.
Yes.
Let's just take it back a bit, because you weren't always a vintage seller.
I was once a tiny baby.
You were once a tiny baby.
Yeah, I was.
and then after that.
Yeah, there was a bit after that.
What sort of came in between? Talk to me about the journey that it got you here.
So I think this was always me underneath, and not all I am, but I've always been into this stuff. I've always liked making things. So the whole earring thing, and I've said this to you before, but when I was a kid, I had a shop in my attic and I made fine jewellery, and now I'm 46 and I've got a shop in my attic and I make fine jewellery. So
Play-Doh.
Yes, it was referred to as Play-Doh. There will be words. So we don't change as people, do we? But I believe you're talking about drama school. I presume you're talking about my down shredding the boards. But yeah, I'd say, what did I do? Yeah, after A levels, I went to Lancaster University. I did theatre studies. I've always liked performing. It's in me. And then after that, I worked in Marks and Spencer's. Do you want to know that? As a visual merchandiser.
Well, I think that's helpful.
I performed on a daily basis as a visual merchandiser, including the time I decided to fill a window with feathers, but didn't realise there was a fan, so just blew them all over the food hall. And I looked like I'd been tarred and feathered, so that was like performance art.
Brilliant.
So good. And then I did the York Mystery Plays, which is a cycle every 4 years, and it was the Millennium Year, so it was in York Minster. It was a really big deal. I played Mary Magdalene, obvs. And that was incredible. And then I went, sod this, I'm off to drama school. So I applied and I went to LAMDA, which was great. And I really enjoyed it and had a great time. And I was an actor for a while. I didn't do very much, so it depends how you look at it. But I did pick myself up a husband, so that was money well spent.
You'd think.
It is money well,
especially as he's your manservant.
He's also my manservant. My parents reckon it's money well spent, so I think that, and considering it was their money, I think it's fair.
They're happy.
Yeah, so I came to realise, I ended up working in HR while I was still trying to do acting jobs, and to be honest, the industry doesn't suit me. I do not have that thicker skin. I think you've got to have a really thick skin. I mean, if anyone in whatever walk of life had to do job interviews constantly,
yeah, it's a lot. It's
hard, and especially when a lot of that is based around how you look or other things. I mean, not in a bad way, but it is, isn't it? They need a
certain type, a certain character or role.
Yeah, and sometimes there's not a lot of imagination around that. They just want to see the person walk in that looks exactly right. So you've got to have thick skin. My husband has a thicker skin than me. And you also have to have the ability to go, yeah, I can do that, no problem, and then go away and go, how am I going to do that? Whereas I go, yeah, no, I can't do that. I know.
Just more realistic with your own options, or?
Well, no, I mean, I think I panic and then I just think, I can't say yes to that because what if I can't do it? And you can't be like that. You've got to be like, what, Spanish accent? No problem, I'll come back tomorrow with that.
Yeah.
See. But I love performing, but I don't think I'm meant necessarily to be in the industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't suit me.
And I think also when you've got a young family.
Oh, yeah.
And you want the security of paying the bills.
I need that.
That sort of fly-by-night sort of experience is challenging. Although now you're an entrepreneur, so in some ways there's some similarities of not having that regular paycheck. How do you work through that?
My husband has a regular paycheck, which gives me that stability. I left my proper job. One should not say that, not my proper job, but my day job, I suppose you'd refer to it as, in HR over a year ago. Yes, over a year ago after being signed off. Because it nearly broke me, and I'd been there 15 years and it was all a bit sad and it's still a bit raw, and I miss that security. I do miss having that. So I did both jobs simultaneously. I was part-time there and I did Boo. But what that afforded me, I should have left sooner, but I'm glad I didn't. And I think it's important not to have regrets about things. Like, don't regret going to drama school just because you're not an actor now. It's irrelevant. It's like, these are all good experiences. But I'm glad I didn't leave earlier, but because of that, I'd saved money because I was doing 2 jobs, which meant that then when it went away and I just focused on this, I had a big buffer going in. It wasn't like, oh, but what about January? It's like going, it'll be fine. If this doesn't work, we're going to be fine and we can figure something else out, because I had that buffer. So I feel really lucky that was the case. Yeah. Although I did have a light bulb moment the other day. Do you want to hear it?
Go on.
And I'm not, I don't think I'm going to act on this, but I just suddenly went, if I wanted to do acting, it would actually work with what I'm doing now, rather than the job I had.
Tell me more.
Well, because my job was completely flexible. Yeah. So if I decided, because obviously the industry keeps calling me up. I mean, I cannot get them on. They're going, we miss you. I go, I know. I'm also my own playing age now, whereas I always look like I should be playing 46. Now I can, because I am, which is nice. Oh, I played Gertrude twice at the age of 22. What's that about?
So is that potentially on cards?
Well, I mean, it just dropped into my head and I went, oh, that would actually...
It could work.
But they are completely compatible.
Yeah. And it's interesting it's taken to this point in your career, not to say that that's a bad thing, but actually as we mature and we get more comfortable in our own selves, and then realise, do you know what, I am more confident being able to say, I've got that buffer, I've got that runway, and just fuck it. Actually, I want to be happy. I want to not have the stress, and I will take the lack of regular paycheck for what makes me happy, and what suits my family life. So maybe exclusive,
but it blew my mind, honestly.
Sarah is available.
Yeah, so any Spielberg, get in touch. I know you've been wanting to work with me for years. I'm here. I am the woman who had one line in the RSC. Do you want to hear it?
Go for it.
I shall, my liege. Still got it. Still got it.
If I had a mic right now, that would be it.
That was amazing.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, it just blew my mind when I realised that was the case. I went, oh yeah, those could work together. Yeah, that's very fresh. That's fresh.
Brilliant. So you've journeyed through acting, through M&S.
HR.
Don't forget M&S.
Never forget M&S.
HR. And now Lady Boo, which is the name of your company. And you're quite prevalent on Instagram. So talk to me about how social media has helped and been impactful for your company and the growth.
Well, it's been everything. I mean, I was all Facebook when I started, and I actually can't quite remember when I transitioned. I transitioned from Facebook. It is a transition from Facebook to Instagram.
That's another podcast.
Yes. We won't get into that now. What was I trying to say? Yeah, so Instagram, funny enough, I know it's hard to believe, I was quite late to that party.
Well, you're sooner than most.
Really?
Do you think? For our generation, I think so.
Hang on, are you saying I'm cutting edge?
I think you're cutting
edge. It's another exclusive. Eventbrite and Instagram. Instagram, I love Instagram. It's lots of pretty pictures. Who doesn't like that? I love a pretty picture. And I went onto Instagram, and whenever it was, and somebody could tell you when it was, useless with dates. And I started growing my business through there organically. I mean...
What does that mean for people that don't understand what organically means?
I think if you're going to... I sell a product, don't I? I sell products. It always starts with friends because they'll support you. And I don't want to do a hard sell on friends, but friends are going to support you. If people like you, I think this thing, if people like you and they buy into what you do, they want to buy from you. I want to buy from people that I look at and go, they're funny, I like them, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's who I want to buy from. In the same way that if I go into a shop and the service is awful, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go and badmouth them on somewhere, but I will not go back.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So I think with Instagram, it's that personal thing. It's like seeing the person and going, well, I quite like them. And there'll be people who don't like me. They won't buy from me. And that's also fine. So I think it starts with friends on there, and then friends share your stuff, and then people see that and it grows. I don't really understand how to use social media properly. I can't sit here and claim I do. What I do is I do what I like when I fancy it. I put up too many posts, I do too many stories, I do a reel now and again because I genuinely post what I like.
But you do regularly post.
I regularly post.
And there are time stamps slots. You definitely do your Wednesday drops.
But that's new.
Sunday drops.
That's new, and that's since, again, so fresh. I did a website again, really late to the party. Thank you, so exciting. But the website's great for me. It makes life a lot easier. But of course, it will have put off some customers because I think the thing with Instagram is that I think there are definitely different ways that people shop. There is a lot of people who do live shopping things. There's a lot of that going on and it works really well for them. And I want to be quite clear, I am not criticising anyone who does that because it works. I don't like shopping that way. I don't like it because I don't understand at which point I'm allowed to buy it. I can see things on the rail behind, but I can't buy those yet because they haven't said what they are yet. Also, you've got to sit there for however long listening. It's not for me. I'm a very immediate person. So that is not the way I like to shop, and therefore that's not what I do. And I'm also super stubborn. So even though that might work really well for my business, I'm refusing to do it. Because I want people to be considered about what they're buying. It's why I always put up the night before a drop, I put up size and price details. I don't do this whole mystery price.
Yeah, that's really useful.
Just so if you see that, you can sit there, you can go and measure something you own, you go, oh, I reckon that's going to fit me, and then you go, £40, okay, yeah, no, I reckon I can pay that. Rather than going, oh God, I love it, oh, it's £60, oh, well, I'll just buy it then.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it really transparent so people make slightly more measured decisions about what they're buying.
Yeah, I mean, I've never shopped on a live ever before, and I think you're right. If you do see something or you've missed something and it's already gone, but that's changed over the years then, so you've grown more in terms of how often you post, you're consistent on your post, you still use Facebook, but that's less.
I get very little traction on Facebook, but then again, I'm just never on Facebook. I don't really go on it so much anymore.
So this video is sponsored by Facebook. Thank you so much for that.
People love it. I don't have a problem with Facebook, I just don't go on it. And also I don't even go on my personal account on Facebook anymore. It's sort of just So
you hang out on Instagram.
I do.
And was there a moment where you experienced, because you said it was organic growth, but was there a moment where it suddenly blew up and you suddenly got more followers than you'd had previously?
Well, yes. Well, I mean, there's twofold to my Instagram successes. One was lockdown.
Right.
And And that's when I started making the earrings, and it was bonkers. And I think other sellers on Instagram would say the same. People were at home and needed something to do. And a £15 pair of earrings is a really good way of treating yourself without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
My drops would sell out within minutes. It was just ridiculous. My husband and my kids we'd sit, sometimes if we were at home, which obviously we mostly were, but when we were allowed to go out for a walk, sometimes go, I just got to do this drop, and then my phone, ding, 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 ding. And as I go, the kids would take them down off the wall, like that, and I go, right there, sold it. It was nuts. It is nothing like that now, but that got me.
Well, I suppose the people on TV, on the cameras, they're doing their Zooms, they're doing their Google Meets.
Yeah, you've got this.
And you've got some fabulous, so you could not bother about the lower half and just have some fabulous earrings.
I don't think I wore trousers or pants for 5 months. I did. True story.
So lockdown was one, and the other?
Well, the other one was Dawn French.
Of course.
That's it. That's the whole story. Do you want more?
Tell me about Dawn.
So, and of course this was great, but actually nothing to do with my business, but it got me huge growth. My wonderful friend Melinda I decided I wanted a dress made out of tea towels, because
as you do,
who would not want a dress made out of tea towels? So I collected tea towels. You need one. You need a shirt.
Oh no, I think I'd need a.
Do you need the
a jumpsuit? Great idea.
That would be really cool.
Oh my god.
Well, boiler suit. I think it needs to be a
boiler suit.
Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. I think you need a boiler suit made out of tea towels.
I think that we've just got her winter season.
That would be so good. Anyway, sorry, moving on. And I said, I want a dress made out of tea towels. And Melinda went, I'll make you one. I went, really? Yeah. Great. So I collected all my tea towels. We sat down, we laid them out. She made me this fabulous tea towel dress. Makes me so happy. It is the nicest thing to wear. I mean, it's linen, for goodness sake. The thing is, tea towels, good quality tea towels are great fabric. And it's fun and it's comfortable, my favourite thing. And you can eat all the cake because it's just this big. And so I wore it loads. I kept putting pictures on Instagram because it's a tea towel dress, it's amazing. And then we were in Margate and I took a particularly glamorous shot in the mirror of a travel lodge. Might have been a Premier Inn. We're sponsored by both of those companies. Just in the mirror. And then, people going, oh, I love your dress, love your dress. And then Dawn French pops up going, oh my gosh, I want one. And I was like, well, where has she come from?
Brilliant.
And Dawn,
she's been lying in there.
She has been lurking.
She's been lurking.
Lurking. Desperate to get earrings during lockdown, couldn't get any. She, I missed them again. So I was like, so exciting, because obviously she's just epic, isn't she?
Epic.
I love Dawn French.
Yeah.
So I messaged Melinda, going, oh my god, look at this. Oh. And Melinda went, just message her, say we'll make one. And I went, you sure? Yeah, okay. I went, hello, well, I didn't make this, my friend Melinda made it, and we'll make you another one. We'll make you one. She went, really? Amazing. I'll buy it from, well, we don't actually make them to sell, we'll just make you one.
Just make one for you.
She said, okay, here's a la la la. And in the end, because she wants to pay for it, we said, well, look, here's a charity, make a donation. So then, it all let loose. I bought about 15,000 tea towels, and then me and Melinda put it together. We decided, it took ages to decide, then she made it, we did it, Dawn had made a donation, we made a package, we wrapped it beautifully, put a note in going, we love you. Off it went. And nothing. Didn't hear anything. Now, Melinda totally forgot any of this happened. This is how different people react to things. Meanwhile, old rejection sensitivity over here, I was like, well, Dawn French hates me. She hates the choice. She hates me. She hates the dress. She's made a donation to charity. This is awful. How embarrassing. And I was like, well, she hates me. And I didn't mention this to Melinda, but I was personally having a complete crisis. It's like, I've never met the woman. This is ridiculous. Anyway, fast track, like almost a year, I'm in a cab on the way to the airport to go on holiday. I'm going to take time off Instagram, and my phone bings, and there is Dawn French wearing the tea towel dress, tagging me, and my Instagram goes mental.
Amazing.
Mental. For something that I do not sell.
You didn't make?
I didn't make. Do not sell. And it just went completely bananas, and it was super, super exciting. That was a very long story. But then she was in OK magazine, she was in Good Woman and How, she was in all these publications as a sustainability fashion icon, and we're like, oh my god.
And were you tagged in those?
Yes. And what I loved is in a couple of them it was sort of said, you know, what did it describe it? Some of them were sort of like, you know, vintage seller, blah blah blah, Lady Boo. And then one of them just said, somebody called Lady Boo. Which was my favourite because it makes me sound really mysterious. This superhero called Lady Boo. So yeah, I was tagged in there. So that was a very exciting time. And on holiday, of course, I go, no, well, I'm another 3,000 followers.
Amazing.
People who seem to think I'm going to
sell them celebrity endorsements, it's what we all
Celebrity
need.
endorsements for a product I neither make nor sell.
But we will be talking to Melinda at another time, so you'll be able to catch that.
Because she now does make and sell them.
We will get the info and the goss on that. So more recently, I hear that you are once again in the magazine covers.
Oh, I was like going, am I? What? Oh yes, no. Oh yes, the wonderful Natalie Hughes from Marie Claire has recently done a roundup of her top 56 classic number.
Always do a random number.
Top 56.
Catches people's attention.
Which also does illustrate how many people are doing this. And, which is no bad thing. Top vintage sellers, online sellers. And she very kindly included me, which is great. And the reason I am so delighted to be included in the list, other than it being Marie Claire, which is obviously super cool, and not really a world I usually circle in, is the fact that Natalie, who pulled the list together, is a real champion of vintage fashion. Like, it's her thing, and she's so good at picking pieces and styling them with other things from the high street or designer and pulling them together. Like, she's properly passionate about it. So it's not just a journalist who's being told, can you go and find some vintage sellers? This is somebody who really believes in this stuff. So super cool. And the other people on there are great, and some of my friends are on there as well. So yeah, it was really nice to see that pop up.
Not to be super competitive.
You should be.
But is there a ranking of the 56?
I don't think so.
Be like, so Natalie.
Yeah, I'm one.
Where did you put me? Was it towards the top?
No, I think they're categorised. I think I think I'm an affordable.
Ah.
Which is true.
Which is true.
I like to keep things affordable.
Brilliant. That's your Lady Boo.
Yeah.
I can't not talk about some of your late night shenanigans that you get up to.
That sounds really dodgy.
Well, I mean, you can take that question as you like.
Well, look, I do some sleeping. I sometimes watch too much telly. That happens. That does happen. Do you mean haven't stopped dancing yet?
I do. Please tell me, and everybody else listening and watching, what is haven't stopped dancing yet?
Or husdy, as though in the no call it. Haven't stopped dancing yet is a disco night for grown-ups. Adult content, there's no adult content, except when I dance the hot stuff, and even that really isn't adult content. I can't speak now. It was set up by Nikki Spencer, who is a friend of mine, has become a friend of mine doing it. She was an acquaintance when we started. She's now a very good friend of mine. And she set it up because she wanted to go dancing, and there just wasn't anything. You know, when you're older, you don't want to be going, well, you might do, but you might feel a bit out of place down the club. Also, this particular music you'd rather listen to. So she wanted to set up a night, and the idea was it's for people who know the music from first time around. So it's 70s and 80s, disco, soul, funk. We throw a bit of salt and pepper in. Don't tell me what. And it's just a really inclusive, not too cool for school night where you can dress up, dress down, people on the dance floor from the get-go, nobody standing around the edge going, oh, it's too early to dance. And I'm the dancer, which makes me a professional disco dancer. I'm going to have business cards. I'm paid to do it, that makes me professional.
Yeah, absolutely. You are a professional dancer. And just to give a bit of an insight, Sarah will be up on the stage and leading the audience members at a number of stages throughout the evening, maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the evening.
It's sort of 2 full sets and then a later one.
Okay. and fairly catchy numbers normally, and the moves and the choreography are so that people can go along for quite a large audience, and
Yes.
it's great fun.
It's just brilliant. It's like herding kittens. And if you get them to do a spin, like people lose their minds in a good way.
Yeah.
They make noises they didn't expect. It's like, I've got this. Oh, now she's spinning. Oh, woo! There's lots of that.
I mean, it's a bit like going to a really great sort of gym session.
Yeah.
Where used to be, back in the 80s,
Yeah.
you'd go to your aerobics class, but it's in the evening with alcohol, wearing some fabulous clothing, and all your mates, rather than just people that you don't know wearing, slightly shorts and thongs.
There's not a lot of lycra going on. No. Certainly not on.
I mean, maybe that could be a thing.
If you want to show up in 80s life, the point is you can show up in anything. And what I like is that, it started out for being people who knew it from first time around, but you get people bringing their kids. And by kids, I mean, grown-up children. Or the younger people, listen to me, I'm such an old lady. The younger people coming and bringing their parents. So you get families coming. I love that. It's really nice.
So, Lady Boo by day.
Lady Boo by night. Just Lady Boo everywhere.
Who's to Boo by night.
Yeah.
And then you've got a family.
Yeah.
And I understand that this entrepreneurial journey that you've got is now rubbing off onto your young children.
Yeah, I mean, that's my fault. So my son is now doing vintage homeware and his bedroom is a shop. So if you chose to come to one of my open houses, you can buy from Albert's Antiques, and it is pretty cool, isn't it? You yourself have some pieces.
I've got.
You have some pieces.
I'm not sure you've got them in the shot, but
I don't think they are they? But yeah, I love it, and he's really into it. My daughter is not quite so involved. Started doing jewellery, doesn't do a lot about it, so we'll see. But that she dabbled. She doesn't commit to things in the same way. But yeah, so they're both at my open house as well now because they're older, so they're 10 and 13. But yeah.
But brilliant to get them in young. And Albert absolutely loves it, doesn't he?
He loves it and
doing really well.
But like I say, it's something you can do alongside other things, and if it brings you joy and makes you a bit of cash as well, like no brainer. I like to shop. I like treasure hunting. If I can turn that liking of shopping into something that makes me money rather than causes issues.
Winner.
Brilliant.
Absolute winner.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me about some of the challenges that you've got being an entrepreneur. We've spoken about not having the regular paycheck. But can you give us a bit of an indication of, some of the things that you've had to try and juggle?
Challenges right now, I think. There's a lot of obvious challenges right now, so I'll do the bigger ones and then sort of more personal ones. I mean, at the moment, business is hard. One, there's a lot of people doing it. You are in a crowded field, but I think it should be a crowded field because we're talking about sustainability here. Will always be, it's not going to go out of fashion buying secondhand clothes. So that's the first thing. Obviously, we are going through a tight time financially. People have less money. We're all fighting over the same fiver. People are still shopping, but they're shopping less. And there's such a time of uncertainty. On top of that, the way social media is working at the moment, Instagram has changed, so things do not get seen in the same way. So your reach is not so far. I've got really close friends who've liked everything I've done, who go, I haven't seen your posts for however long. So with the not getting seen, with the people having less money, I've always said, and I occasionally say this on Instagram, I'm not trying to beg people to shop from me. I don't want people to buy things they don't want. But I do want people to help promote my business. If you don't want to buy something, that's fine. But if you like my post, somebody who does want to buy the thing, they see it. So there's ways of supporting people without going, well, I better buy something from them because they're having a tough time. It's not a charity, it's a business. And if it's not working, it's not working, right? So that's the sort of landscape at the moment. I just thought of something brilliant. What was it? I say it was brilliant, it probably wasn't brilliant at all. One of the things I fight constantly internally, and I think this is advice probably across all the creative businesses, I would say, is that it's really easy to look at what other people are doing and start getting swayed and going, oh, yeah, but that's really cool what they're doing, and maybe I should be doing that, and maybe if you're in a creative industry, what you bring to the table is you. Lots of people sell vintage clothing. Nobody does it quite the same as me because it's what I like and what I choose. This does not mean you need to dress like me, but this is what I'm promoting. At the moment, you've got lots of businesses who are selling a lot of sort of sportswear and casual wear secondhand, which is brilliant because that's really wearable stuff. And then you go, maybe I should be doing. It's like, I can't do that. That's not my thing. I don't know what I'm looking for. It's not what I wear. It's completely fruitless to try and emulate what somebody else is doing. So you can be influenced by people. My tastes have changed since I started selling vintage clothes. I used to sell loads of 50s stuff and I've moved away from that. But that's because my personal tastes have changed, not because of anything else. So I think that is a real challenge, trying to go, do you know what? This is what I do and this is how I do it. And that is what makes my business my business.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just the same as anyone else's business. So I think that is important. Save for tax. For somebody who wears a lot of hairdressers, I do like a spreadsheet, and I think it's very important to save for your tax and understand tax.
It's less fun.
Well, I tell you what, it is fun when you get your tax bill and you have the money to pay it.
Wow.
Did you like the mother coming out? Did you like that? That was good.
That's very good. A tip that my accountant, because I know somebody who pays it monthly. And I thought that's intriguing. And then actually I was advised, don't do that because the money needs to stay with you, but you just put it somewhere else. Save it
Just
monthly. Move it monthly somewhere else, which is a really good tip.
And also if you save like your 25% or your 30%, I guarantee you will have too much saved at the end of the year.
Well, that is a good tip.
And then you feel like you've got a lottery win.
I mean, I'm not sure, but
it's not exciting, is it? But honestly,
so saving for your tax,
it's knowing that what's going to hit you.
Sticking in your niche.
Stay in your lane, yeah.
Stay in your lane. So you alluded to personal challenges.
Yes.
Alongside the business, you've got those business challenges that other people will also face.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the more personal aspects that maybe give you some stumbling blocks.
You have reminded me. I am finding it difficult having no structure. Because obviously, my husband works essentially full time. And you could argue I do, but obviously it's super flexible. And because it's all coming out of here, everything's from my brain, and this is how my brain works. I was diagnosed with ADHD last year, which has been a revelation for me. It's been really, really useful. I would recommend it to people if, because I thought there was no point, because I thought I understood myself, but actually getting the diagnosis for me made me go, that makes sense. It was said to me at drama school, and it was said to me in my whole school career, she'd be really good if she did any work. And it's not that I didn't do any work, it's just that I couldn't apply certain things. I was the type of actor who would just do it. It would just what came out of me. My husband is the opposite to that, and he works really hard and is therefore now a better actor than I am. But that's how his brain works. He applies himself, he looks at techniques and he applies them, and I go, I don't know, what about if I just do this? And so it's been a real revelation getting that diagnosis and understanding myself better. But it does present challenges, and now being essentially let loose on the world on my own, it's hard to keep motivated. It is hard to stay on track. It's hard to get to the end of tasks. I've really noticed it, and because I've got more time in many ways.
Yeah. So
things like, I'll shoot a drop, I'll get the things on the mannequins, I'll shoot it, I can just about get through that, I'll listen to a podcast. Oh, the measuring. And that's why I'm doing drops of 10 now, because 10 you just about make it through. But I have to give myself a real talking to get to the end of it, because there's nothing fun about measuring something. There's nothing fun.
Nothing fun.
There's no dopamine being released from that. So I've learned how I've got to really push myself. And then with the making, again, I go in slumps. I'm like, well, none of this is working. I don't know what to do. If I do a range of earrings and they don't sell, I'm quite good at going, yeah, well, I still really love them. So I don't regret them, but then trying to motivate yourself to do a new range, that's hard, isn't it? Because you're not getting that payoff. So that has been a real challenge. And I think right now, because business is slower, I think everybody across the industry is finding things slower, the high street's finding things slower, we're spending less. Trying to motivate myself, trying to keep myself going in an organised way, hard.
Yeah.
So that is a real challenge. But even just knowing that that's what the challenge is helpful.
Yeah. If you were to thank anyone for the path that you're on,
yeah,
or somebody that was really influential to take you on this journey, who would it be?
am I only allowed one?
Well, you were allowed as many as have influenced you, I guess.
I'm going to give you 3 examples.
Go for it.
Firstly, my parents.
Always have to. I mean, you could have said God first.
I don't know if God's really into vintage clothes. I don't know. We'll park him or her or them.
Yes.
They, I don't know, I can't have been the easiest person to bring up. They supported me with the whole acting thing. They've always supported me. I've always had that background of support, and I think that means that you can do things. So it's not like they've specifically supported my vintage business, but they've just always been there. They've also been quite a sensible voice. They're not like, you can do anything you dream of, darling. None of that. But they've just been there. They've been a solid backing for me the whole of my life, and they still are, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Even at my open houses, they'd take the kids off. It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, that's distracted me, but this is a one-woman business. It is just me. But that doesn't mean that I don't have loads of people who help me. And I think that always needs to be remembered. There's always a team of people doing something behind the one-person business. The next person I would like to thank would be my husband, who puts up with all of this. You know, we open our house up. It's infiltrated by people. Our bedroom is a stock room. It's kind of awful, to be honest. It's chaotic. And he lives with that. Now, as he should, because this is my business and it does bring money into the house, but it is a lot. And the fact that he will happily be my manservant at the open houses, I think is brilliant.
He's a very good manservant.
He's really good. He likes the job. We all like a job. I like knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. So his support has been incredible, and I couldn't do it without him, obviously. And the last person I'd like to say is a more recent addition, present company, obviously excluded from this particular conversation, but is Rachel, who runs Mary's Vintage. And the reason I wanted to mention her is because I met her because we both have clothes in Haynes Lane, in the boutique at Haynes Lane in Crystal Palace. And we tend to merchandise it together, and we've got to know each other really well. We've been to wholesalers together, all this stuff. She's a great person, and the reason she's helped me is because we can talk to each other about the industry. We can talk to each other about what's doing well, what isn't doing well, really openly, and to know how somebody else is doing, because it can get a bit like, closed off and people don't want to share stuff like that. And we're really open with each other, and that it keeps me sane, and it's really nice having somebody else doing the same thing of you that you can just bounce things off.
Women supporting women.
Yes, more of that.
Boosting each other, coming together to create a network.
Yeah, but being honest and open about how things are going. We can whinge at each other, which is quite helpful. Not healthy all the time, but we also lift each other up. She will buy things for me because she knows I'll like them, but they're not her thing, and vice versa. So yeah, that's been really helpful for me as well.
Yeah, I think it is so important, isn't it? Especially that network of people around. And I think I'm still kind of building mine, because I think when I first started, I made the mistake of thinking I had to do everything on my own and that people were too busy with their own thing. But actually, the more you do go and ask, people want to help, don't they? So
help.
Well, they can.
If somebody asks for something and you can do it, it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
You go, yeah, of course I can do that.
Yeah.
That's easy for me.
Yeah.
If they ask you something that's hard, it's not so good. But what's hard for you may be dead easy for me, and that's what I love. It's about finding the right people. But I think, don't see everybody as a competitor.
Yeah.
She is my competitor. We both sell vintage clothing.
Yeah.
But
we've got a small cat that's just joining us.
I think about that is not a small cat.
It's a very large cat.
Hello, beautiful.
So, with all of the shenanigans that you get up to and your larger than life personality, I wanted to ask, do you ever get embarrassed about anything?
Mm-hmm.
And what sort of things would that be if you do?
It's usually something I've said.
Right.
I think I've said, I can guarantee when we finish recording this, I will think I've said something ridiculous, and I go, oh, what's that? I don't know. I won't be able to remember what it is, but I'll have that underlying feeling that I've done something awful. I think I panic in conversations, and so what people see is me being very confident, very chatty, a lot of jokes. That is how I handle social situations.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm super confident. I'm not unconfident, but we misread people all the time. So the person is shy who goes quiet, that's them dealing with it, and me, I get louder and louder and chattier, and if you leave a gap, I will fill it with words because that's how I cope. So my general embarrassment is that I've said something ridiculous or forgotten something or basically put my foot in it.
And I guess that's sort of those people that are kind of deemed as outgoing, confident, that it can be misconstrued and that therefore people think you are really confident and that of course you maybe aren't always quite as confident as you give off.
Although I do believe the more confident you act, the more confident you feel. With clothes, that's the thing. If you dress and you wear it and you go, I love it. Yeah. People will love it too.
Yeah. You walk differently, don't you?
You walk totally differently. Yeah, it's important. So you can. Well, it's like if you're feeling sad and you make yourself smile, you do actually feel slightly better. Yeah. You can trick yourself into feeling better, I think.
Before I close the podcast, I want to thank you for joining me.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been wonderful. We could do this again sometime.
We could do it for hours.
We could do it for hours. We've done it for hours. But a closing question for my guest will be always, if you've got any recommendation, whether you've been to see a play, read a book, watched something great on the TV, just to give some people some thoughts and suggestions about something creative they could do with their lives.
Yes.
What have you got?
Despicable Me 4.
Oh, really?
No, I'm joking. I did see it. It's very good. Do see it, but no, that is not my recommendation. Have you watched The Bear?
No, but it is on the list.
So we just finished series 3.
Is it on Apple?
It's on Disney.
Disney, yeah.
So, why is this so good? I've never seen anything quite like it.
Right.
Now, I don't like things that get a bit indulgent generally. And I actually think this does get quite indulgent. Yeah. And that sounds like a really dirty word, but I just don't know how else to describe it. So you get episodes which are just very slow or just very about tiny things, and you're like, okay. The reason it works, the reason I love this and I would recommend it, is I have never seen performances like it. There are scenes in The Bear, group scenes, so it's based in a kitchen generally, but there's a family scene as well where it's particularly good. But the interactions in the kitchen, the talking over each other, all of that, I do not know how they do it. You know, you sit and you go, I do not know how they're doing this. It is so good. Wow. And you buy into the characters and you want to know the characters and you like the characters so much. I think it's genius television.
Well, it is on my list,
but
so now that's an extra person that said on it. So I think it's going to be there.
And there's going to be more.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's shake hands.